Hello, everyone. My name is Logan Ruthling, and today I will be talking with you all about data analytics. Just give me 1 second to make sure this is up and loaded correctly. All right, so here we go. What is data analysis? Well, data analytics is, by definition, any process of taking data and basically transforming it into something useful, something that users can be able to read and use in their daily life or their business life. And there are a variety of ways that users can employ these methods of data analytics. They can inspect data, clean data, and then model data to serve their purposes. So the goal of data analysis is basically to reach important conclusions through research of data and analysis of data, which in turn leads to smarter decision making and better decision making by individual users and larger companies such as Apple or Microsoft. So now let's get into the process of what analyzing data looks like. So basically, data analysis involves breaking down a whole or a large piece of data into several components for examination. So there's several phases for the data analysis process. And these include data requirements, data collection, data processing, and then finally data cleaning. And I'll go over each step a little bit more in depth. So data requirements. Data requirements are the inputs of data that are needed to match user expectations. So before you can start, modeling data and cleaning it and using it, finding out like what you need specifically from the data, you need to find which data is relevant. So you have a list of inputs that you put into a database of relevant data that you need that's, as I said, relevant to what you're trying to find. And these can include specific variables such as like population and income. So that's the first step. The second step is data collection. So after you have all the relevant data, that's kind of at your fingertips, you need to start collecting the data, and you can collect it from a variety of sources. Data is collected through paid analysts who work at companies. You can find data from sensors in the environment, such as like traffic cameras. They give out amounts of data based on like how many people like run red lights or other things like that. And then online sources or documents that are available to the public or available to users. And then there's data processing, which is data obtained, but then it requiring a processing system so that it can be analyzed. And the way that users typically do this, remember, it's all about ease for the user. Typically, people will create charts, use rows and tables and columns to make the processing of data easier to analyze and to understand. And then there's data cleaning, which even when the data is processed and organized, there can still be problems that exist within the data, such as duplicates or incomplete data that was overlooked or errors within the data. And data cleaning is just the process of fixing these errors. So here's some different types of data analysis. There's data mining, there's business intelligence, and then there are statistical applications, which include specific ways of analyzing data that are outside of the data process for looking at what you need to find for relevant information. Focuses on modeling data, basically taking huge amounts of data and finding relationships that correlate within the data, so predicting trends and patterns. Then there's business intelligence, which it's data analysis that relies heavily on aggregation, which is basically just focusing on business information, stuff that's information that's coming into companies or data that the companies are paying for to look at to make smarter business decisions. That's business intelligence. And then statistical applications, EDA and CDA, which just stands for exploratory data analysis and confirmatory data analysis. And just on a side note, EDA focuses on discovering new features within data, things that people sometimes overlook. And confirmatory data analysis focuses on confirming or falsifying existing hypotheses that people come to conclusions on based on, reviewing of data. So confirmatory just makes sure that those hypotheses that people reach after reviewing data are actually correct. And now some barriers to effective analysis, which obviously companies and users want to know about so they can avoid these. But they may exist for specifically the analysts of data. So distinguishing from fact or fact from opinion. So a lot of times within data caches, there can be a lot of bias, a lot of things that people read that aren't necessarily true. They're just opinions, and that's not factual data. It's not reliable data. Then there's confirmation bias, which is basically analysts just only finding data that confirms their expectations, things that only agree with what the analysts originally went into when they were thinking about whatever they were thinking. So basically not looking for a complete picture of the data. And then innumeracy, which basically is just analysts who have poor understanding of numbers and mathematical equations for determining data. So in summary, data analysis is the process of taking data and pretty much making it useful. That's really what it's all about. The data analysis process is composed of 4 major elements, which we talked about earlier. And basically this whole process, if you sum it up, takes data and finds the most pertinent information that is relevant to the user by cleaning it and modeling it and finding all the data requirements that are necessary. And then they're also very important for companies. They help predict patterns in data, which can be very helpful for companies in making smarter decisions for the future, on like what products they want to sell or what supply chains they want to incorporate in their business. All of these are predicted off of patterns that are recognized through data analysis and effective data analysis. So that's all I have on that discussion, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much.